awake. I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go. Without further ado, let's hit the music. Let's bring them out. Lindsay, Tara, Arryn, and Barbara. They brought weapons.
Check. How freaking cool is this, y'all?
It's so feel stable.
Give it a try.
Yeah, that's a nice one, actually.
Look, it works. Hold on. It doesn't like shoot you or anything. How dope! I'm okay.
I feel like if I was wearing my weapon around, it would be very hard to sign autographs. Same.
Where do I put this? I was like this.
I'm an idiot. My flight got in at 8 a.m., okay? I had no sleep. It's so cold back there, so thank you, Mary, for my sweet.
We have a sign language interpreter. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
So if anyone want a glimpse of what it's like to hang out with Team RWBY, this is it. It's just like manic insanity. Sorry.
Yes,
pretty much.
I really feel like this chair is gonna break. So if it does, it'll be great for video. But just say, I don't know why, but it just does not feel stable.
I'll have a chocolate
very stable.
Wouldn't be the first time you've fallen on stage.
Or you.
That is an
Before we
echo.
get started, I think we should say we're going to spoil stuff from everything that is aired up to now. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like if people ask questions about a current volume that has come out, then we're going to answer the question. So if you haven't seen all of the volumes of RWBY, you might get something spoiled for you, and we apologize.
We don't feel bad if you want to leave now.
Yeah. No
We
shame.
really don't. I won't be spoiling anything for 7, so sorry.
Oh man, I was really hoping you hated your NDAs and jobs.
Yeah,
Lay it
needs a
all.
paycheck. Come on.
So we got Q&A mics here and here. Go ahead and hop up. I don't know if some people show up and sit down and everything. I like getting things rolling with a few. There we go. My people, they've been summoned to the microphones. I've got one that I wanted to kick things off with. One of the things that I love about the show is that it centers powerful, complex female characters that do not fall into any of the kinds of tropes that a lot of the cartoons that I watched growing up would fall into. As much as I love She-Ra, as much as I love various other shows, there was kind of a stock. This is what one of the cartoons were like. What cartoons were you into growing up that you really loved that were like your appointment viewing when you ran home and watched? I personally was a Sailor Moon guy. What was on the must-see list? What did you race home from school for?
I always liked Pepper Ann. I don't know how many people remember that.
She's too cool for sixth
Exactly. Everyone of the kids nodding is like, what are you talking about? Especially from like the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
I was like a Rugrats chick.
I was just about to say Rugrats! Okay, I have another one then.
And Hey Arnold, biggest
Oh,
crush.
my second one, you can't see. Arthur. Y'all remember that? Yeah. Wait, no, take it back. Rocco's Modern Life.
I started watching The Simpsons when I was like 10.
Oh yeah.
And that probably has shaped a lot of my life and my language growing up.
I liked home movies.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yes.
Oh, God.
With
I
Brenda
still like
Small.
I also just love that Arryn has openly admitted that her first crush was like Arnold from Hey Arnold, which is awesome. Yeah, totally support that, especially because for me, my literal first crush was Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh!
That accent. I think I like Johnny Bravo. I remember Johnny Bravo.
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
My dad used to do that all the time. My first pet was a fish, and I named it Johnny Bravo.
Really?
Yeah. It was one of those beta fishes that, like, if you put another one
Was it a beta?
in the fish, they fight. That's perfect.
Did you?
You didn't
No,
like
no,
fish.
that's like, no, I just bought one, but I named him Johnny Bravo because I thought it was really cool.
fish.
It's funny because Johnny Bravo himself is a beta. He wishes he was an alpha.
Oh.
Controversial opinion.
Was that really?
What if Johnny Bravo's in the room?
Oh. Awkward.
Well, let's start over here.
Hi, my name is Robert. Basically, I wanted to say that I've enjoyed all 6 of the series. I'm looking forward to number 7 as soon as it comes out.
Good, you can stay. You can stay. You can pass the test.
As far as my question, it's kind of a two-part, but it's for all of you. Basically, the 2 series that I've enjoyed the most are obviously RWBY and then RWBY. Which did you enjoy working on the most, and which one did you have the most fun with?
It's hard to say, I like both. Yeah, I mean, Chibi's a little bit more, happy-go-lucky. Everyone's kind of like back to normal and nothing bad happened. That's always exciting. Yeah, everyone's still alive. Yeah, but I mean, RWBY itself, RWBY proper, like you get to do so much as an actor. You get to expand your repertoire. You get to go into different like emotional aspects of the character that you hadn't explored earlier in the show. So yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't have RWBY Chibi without RWBY proper, I guess is what we're technically calling it now. So I think that RWBY Chibi is really fun to do, just because it's such a departure from RWBY. I mean, Weiss gets to kind of be funny and back to her kind of sassiness, which I think is fun to record. But I also really like doing RWBY because RWBY, we've all literally grown with these characters inside of ourselves, which kind of sounds weird to say, but doing that, just experiencing what the characters have experienced is something that we all go through is really cool, and I think that we can relate to it, and I like that aspect of it.
I'm blacked out.
Blacked out or blanked out?
I really enjoy the challenge of RWBY proper because Blake recently has started. Oh, I almost said developing, but that sounds emotionally developing, yes. And it's been more of a challenge to play her, and I've really enjoyed that as an artist. But Chibi's always fun to do. I was very frustrated one day because I had to do Dr. Gray after years of not doing her, and and then I also had to do Excited Blake right after that, and Blake's never excited. So I kept accidentally being Dr. Gray while being Blake, and it was just the most frustrating thing in the world. But Chibi's always fun.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Chibi's definitely fun, and for Yang especially, like when I do Chibi, I get to basically do volumes 1 and 2 Yang.
Exactly, yeah.
Definitely not post volume 3 Yang, it's very different.
Can you hear the difference, right?
I can. Sorry?
Oh.
Yeah, in RWBY Chibi, Yang still has both arms.
Nothing bad happened. Can you hear the difference in Yang's voice when she has one arm and when she doesn't?
Pretty much. More somber.
So is Weiss still the heiress in the Chibi?
Yeah, she's
everything.
still a
Nothing bad has
happens.
happened. But the thing I like most about RWBY Chibi, I think, is getting to hear the other characters also do different voices and different things. Like, I loved making Bernie do puns. And the one where Yang and Taeyang have a pun off. I just love torturing him in that way, because Bernie hates puns.
That was so good, by the way.
They're both, yeah, but as I said, both fun and both challenging in different ways.
I need to purr. Where you go? Lindsay.
No, seriously.
Your flashlight's on.
It was on. What are you
Thank you for your question.
A little follow-up to that, on the actual experience of recording. Do you mostly record separately? Do you get to do group recordings when you actually lay everything down?
No, we record separately. We'd like to get to the point where we do group recordings, but we just don't have the facilities for that right now. Right now we can just do 2 people in the booth, but we spend so much time together going to conventions and whatnot that it really doesn't feel like we've disconnected at all.
Yeah, no, you guys are like the sisters.
I still hear y'all's voice when I read the script. I don't need you there too.
I do. I love that people don't realize that we don't record together because this is gonna sound real douchey. We sound really good.
You guys.
But people don't realize like how difficult that can be to not have your other people to play off of.
Yeah.
So.
Miles and Carrie do a good job of doing impressions for us
Yeah,
too.
oh my gosh, having Miles and Carrie do their impressions of everybody.
They'll like read the lines, going into whatever lines we're recording as the other characters, would be. So apparently Miles is a great voice. I've never heard it, obviously.
I bet Blake's really boring.
I don't know.
They're all
Boring
great.
is the right
the next
melancholy.
Next up over here.
Hello.
Hey.
I want to say I've been a fan since I was 8.
Really?
8 now.
That makes me
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Today he is 12.
Exactly. Thank you. Jeff Ramsey is an amazing English teacher.
Well,
He's not here, you don't have to lie.
yeah, exactly. Don't boost his ego. He doesn't need that.
But no, my question is actually it's aimed towards Barb because you watch Friends.
I'm Barbara.
But this is for everybody who's seen a little bit of the show.
Okay.
My question is Barbara. And
Hold on, I gotta answer this call real fast.
all right.
There we go.
My question is, so you know, there's the main 6 and Friends. So who of the RWBY cast, like everybody, would you take and put in that main crew?
So like,
Friends.
who is each character from Friends?
Like, for example, RWBY would be Joey, which is a weird example.
Right.
But
How you doing?
In the front.
If you don't say who I think I am, I'm gonna be really upset.
I would say
Oh, I know
Blake
exactly.
is Phoebe?
Smelly cat?
Yes.
Smelly cat.
Really, Monica.
No, I think Weiss is Monica because she's very
Oh, I was about to say
like
that
kind of
for
chill.
Weiss is Rachel. Because she's all straight up.
Monica and Weiss, they totally have like the hoarder closet that they had in that one episode.
But yeah.
No, Blake is Ross.
Ross is the worst character in Friends.
RWBY would be Joey.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying this because he's my favorite character, but yeah, he's Chandler.
Chandler.
100%.
Chandler. See, and that's why Blake is Monica.
Because you're brothers. No, never mind. I was thinking you're
I also want to tell a funny anecdote about Friends. There was a convention I was at one time, and there was a guy I was meeting who came to the Rooster Teeth booth. He was wearing, he's like, I forget what country he was from. He was from a different country. He didn't speak very good English, but he had bought a t-shirt as a souvenir that was a big heart, and it had Ross and Rachel in the heart, and it said, "She got off the plane." And I was like, that is the most touristy shirt anyone could ever buy. I think it was here in New York City.
Think of America.
And only people who've seen Friends know what that means.
But, never mind.
What?
I won HQ last night and I got really excited, so I had to tell someone. It was
totally
Big
relevant.
Bakery trivia, I know, but it made me think about just TV shows, so sorry.
All right.
I wanted
So
to-
I'm Monica. Not
Thank you.
Phoebe.
Next up over here.
Hi.
Hello again. All right, so rather than ask something I'm sure at some point you've been asked before, I thought I'd maybe go a little outside the box. So, $1 million, but your hands and your feet trade places.
Absolutely. Be awesome. Oh, nice to meet you. Check out my foot.
I hate feet.
And I will be giving you many
So
handshakes.
bare feet. I can't stand bare feet. No. No one needs to smell that.
My toes are adorable. People have asked for photos.
I didn't say they were, but I know one needs to smell
Where we
that.
have security.
I think, no.
Yeah, no.
Although the only thing I can think of that would be beneficial is like if you need to tenderize some meat.
I mean, I can already pick things out with my toes. I don't need to do the switcheroo.
Well, here's a question: if you did that, would kicking then become punching and punching be kicking?
Can I slap you with my foot?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? Like a footprint across the face. I'm okay. But you'd wash your feet more often. You could walk on your hands, but you could walk upside down though.
It just changes it all.
You still have the same arm strength though.
Yeah, but you have more surface area because your feet are made for
Yeah, but your
the blood's
shoulders
gonna
are
rush
so-
to your face.
faith.
Face.
Okay.
It's a lot deeper than you thought.
We've all made this very rationalized. We've all rationalized this now. So do we all say no then?
No, I was the only one that I would do it.
Oh, okay.
Enjoy your normal, boring life.
I will enjoy my blood rush head.
Feet slapping.
It's coming.
Yeah, good luck holding anything, like a telephone.
I did not do that on purpose at all.
You know, all the rehearsals we did really paid off.
Your timing was on par.
Yeah.
Take care of me, you wouldn't be able to do that.
All right.
Nice stuff.
Okay, I'm sitting on it now, it's not going anywhere.
My name's Mason.
Hi, Mason.
Well, I'm just gonna say I love RWBY. I've been part of RWBY since season 2, and
Thank you.
because of it, I've been a major Rooster Teeth. I love Achievement Hunter. I watch it all the time.
I'm sorry.
I know it's crazy sometimes. And Always Open is the best podcast. So that's my comment. But my question is, it's mainly for Arryn and Barbara because of Blake and Yang. Do you think at the end of season 6, by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen season 6.
We warned them, you're good.
Do you think the conclusion with Adam will have a bad influence or a good influence? Do you think like Yang is gonna like get rid of her PTSD? Do you think Blake is gonna come out of the shadows because Adam's no longer there to keep her in it?
I definitely feel like Blake's gonna become more, I mean, she already has.
Yeah,
More like,
Blake's already started. That was a good rewind too. Blake's already started the process of coming out of her shell. That's how what happened. That wouldn't have happened if she hadn't emotionally developed.
it definitely seems like one of, I think, like her character, not peaks, because obviously there's like so much more to happen in RWBY that we haven't explored yet. But yeah, that's definitely like the peak of her bravery, I would say, for sure.
And it's only downhill from there.
It's hard to say because we don't write the show.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if some of the PTSD still exists deep down. I mean, yes, the person who she had that fear over is now gone, but I think when you go through something that traumatic, it kind of lives with you forever.
Exactly.
And then I think both Blake and Yang are going to grow from it in different ways. It's probably going to affect them emotionally over a number of years, I imagine, but whether or not that's prevalent in the upcoming seasons, I'm not quite sure.
Did you say Blake and Arryn?
Blake and Yang.
Open your ear balls.
Thank you so much.
I want to say one more comment.
What?
Blake is number 1.
I'll agree to disagree, that's okay.
I'll take it.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Katrina, and this is a question for everyone. Through all the volumes and scenes that you've filmed, is there a particular line or scene that is just your all-time favorite and you remember really fondly or just fantastic?
One of my favorites is Leave Her Alone from the end of the season 3 when some bad things happen. Yeah. It was a very powerful moment, like visually too. I didn't realize when I was recording that she like picked up Penny's weapon, so it's RWBY holding Penny's weapon and like defending Kira, and that was awesome. But also just as a voice actor, they're like, hey, so here's this line, and it's only 3 words, but there's a lot of emotion behind it, so can you try your best to convey it all? And you know, not to be like, oh, I took my own horn, but I was really
Yeah,
Two.
do it.
Thanks.
It'll make you feel
I'd probably say it was definitely the Schnee fundraiser scene when Weiss finally like breaks out of herself and essentially and tells everyone to shut up. I could not believe that she did that, and I was so proud of her though at the same time. I was like, yes, finally! You're breaking out, and then when Ironwood comes in, it's like, she's the only one making any sense around here. I was like, oh yeah, I got backup too! Awesome! So that was definitely really fun to record to, and also just to see it once it came out, being like, yeah. That's good.
I really enjoyed Blake's little monologue to bring the white fang together. No, not the. Yeah, she knows. You don't pay attention.
I just don't know which one you were talking about. Once you hear the
After like her house is burning down and stuff, she's like she tries to rally everybody together in a positive way, and I really enjoyed doing that just because it felt like a big move for her, and it was nice to
it was difficult to do because there were so many words and you had to make all of them different. It's almost like acting.
All the words, I had to read them all.
I had to read all the words and say them in such a way.
I have a number of different favorite lines and favorite scenes. One of my all-time favorites was when Yang confronted Raven by the jewelers there to the relic, and saying, "You're afraid of Salem," in a really angry tone is like one of my favorite moments. But I think one of my earlier ones is the end of Volume 3 when Yang is talking to RWBY, and she's just like so distraught, and then RWBY asks where Blake went, and Yang just goes, "Blake ran," because in that line I had to convey both sadness and anger at the same time, and that was a real big challenge for me because Yang had never been through anything like that thus far. So that was a cool moment.
I also noticed in that scene that you didn't say "I love you" back to me. So thanks.
All right, listen.
Still waiting on that one.
It took a volume and a half, but you got there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hello, hello. I've been a RWBY fan ever since I was a little kid watching my older brother's Red vs. Blue DVDs. And I really became a RWBY fan when I started watching RWBY. And my question is, a lot of the Grimm are inspired by mythical creatures. Is there a specific type of mythical creature you want to face that's like a specific Grimm that's based off a mythical creature like a Kraken or a Chupacabra or a mermaid?
Chupacabra would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. I want Bigfoot Grimm.
Wait, what do you want?
Bigfoot Grimm?
What was that
There's
last?
been a dragon, hasn't there? Yeah, dragon.
Yeah, there's been dragons.
Yeah, there's dragons.
Unicorn, but unicorns are so nice.
There's mermaid faunas.
There are.
You know, I got what I wanted.
Unicorn. That'd be like crazy.
I know it's not a mythical creature, but I really want Sloth Grimm. So I feel like it'd be like very slow and like kind of a creepy evil.
I will get you eventually.
It's like the elephants. They'd be the passive.
Elephants can run though.
I know, but the grim elephants.
Have you ever tried to see a sloth run?
Stop making me laugh like that.
Okay, that's okay.
Very attractive.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hiya.
She got too tired so we had to get a replacement here. Forgot about that.
Hi, Arryn. Hi. Sorry, anyway, I was wondering what traditional RPG character you think your characters would like be or play as?
Oh boy. Well, I
This might
possibly
be the
think.
most controversial question.
I know, yeah, I'm sorry.
What are all the different types of traditional RPGs?
I was just gonna say you're a brawler for sure.
I'm melee.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not
I
know.
think I'd be melee and stealth.
Yeah.
Stealth
I
melee.
feel like Weiss would be some kind of like support class. I think their healer would make
Yeah.
sense to me. Although that's Sean.
That's
Sean's the
Sean
healer.
now, yeah.
Never mind.
Claire?
He's gotta get nerfed. We gotta nerf him.
Weiss would be the one playing the game and controlling us all really badly.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good.
What about RWBY?
Ranger?
Ranger, I can see that. Yeah. We'll say Ranger.
There you go.
Let's get you guys to answer the questions for us.
Show of hands.
Yeah.
Survey says. Okay.
And be a troll.
Can't hear you.
He's
Speak
trying
closer
to-
to the
thank
mic.
you,
It's
sorry.
like the 10-year anniversary when you guys made that video, and I've been like following ever since.
Oh,
I just want to
thanks.
make my question a little short. And what sort of familiar would you like to have?
Ooh, what kind of familiar we'd like to have?
Oh.
Instead RPG, I assume.
I mean, I feel like it's why not Ruby's familiar already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
See, I want like a cute fairy or something like that, but I feel like Blake would have, like in WoW, they've got the red one, or the fire one. I'd want that, but with like shadows. I think that would be dope.
Shadowcat, something like that.
Shadow.
Weiss, I guess you would have some kind
I
of
already
little
have.
snow-oriented thing.
Yeah, you
Well,
already
I have
have
my,
knight.
my white knight.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean,
Little white knight.
I want Yang's familiar to be RWBY Chibi Yang.
That would be amazing. That would be so perfect.
She would.
Yeah, just like a giant-headed Yang right next to her. The heck?
appreciate it.
I like that question.
Over here.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Gabriel. I've been watching since basically Red versus Blue season 6 and watching it all the way up until now.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
Wanted to know, once we did Oscar's tragic backstory, what did each of you feel from his entire backstory?
Oh, well, it's funny you say that. Like, for me, I mean, obviously I was like, oh, this is really cool, interesting. I like that there's some complexity to his character. It's a new character that we're bringing into the show. But the best reaction to Oscar's backstory was from Michael. I was telling him about the show, and I was like, yeah, it's this guy, Oscar, like, he has basically like Ozpin inside of him, you can hear him in his head, and it's like kind of messing with him. And Michael just kind of like sat still for a second, and he goes, that's really messed up.
Yeah,
Sure is.
yeah, I had asked
It's like
a lot of
the-
questions. I asked so many questions after reading that really good show, but crazy.
I just thought it was fun to watch. I got to watch it as like a newbie because, I mean, Blake and Oscar don't really interact, so I got to watch it with everybody
Not
else.
Ruby does, though.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing if you could say is hi Kiara to my camera real quick.
We will do that at our signing booth downstairs. We actually don't do shout outs while we're doing the
The
panel.
great news that we've got is they will be back at their tables right after this panel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We can talk to you much more there. It's way more exciting.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Sarah. You guys met me earlier.
Hello.
I'm the one with the body pillow.
Oh, okay. Wait. That's not something you should tell everybody. It's just,
I'm not ashamed. I have no shame. So I skipped my last day of high school to be here, so it's cool. I graduate Sunday.
Get it. Congrats.
The mother in me is very conflicted because I want to congratulate you and scold you at the same time.
I got through college. I'm okay.
You're fine.
So my question for you is, if you guys could like write or direct any episode of RWBY or RWBY Chibi, what would you want to happen in it?
We could write a direct RWBY.
If you like wrote or directed an episode, like what would you want to happen? Anything. Doesn't matter how like out of character it would be.
John and Weiss go on a date. I fully support that relationship. Absolutely.
I love anime a lot, and I feel like there should be some form of a beach episode, not the traditional beach episodes. Everyone's in the more adult-oriented, but yeah, just having fun, playing around on the beach.
I would want to write like a makeover episode where there's like makeover montages for all 4 of the girls and they like go shopping and everything like that.
Give Weiss a spray tan.
That would be horrifying. Like an orange white hair.
It's happening.
You're an Oompa
It could be RWBY instead of RWBY.
That's not orange.
I'd also want a training montage for Yang at some point.
Like Mulan or something.
Yeah, for like running up and down the stairs and like lifting weights and like lifting cars.
Yeah.
Instead of weights, you're just like holding RWBY, like, yeah.
I kind of want like a Pokemon RWBY crossover.
Yes.
I got the idea because of this kid's shirt. So, thank you. Otherwise, it would have just been Blake reading for an hour. And a book reading.
I watched that.
Sold.
What kind of book would it be?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would it be Ninjas in Love?
What?
Ninjas of Love.
That'd actually be an awesome chibi episode. If it was censored.
Yeah.
That would be cute. It's sort of like in Harry Potter where they read like the story books and stuff. Be like little shadow characters and be like little shadow Yang. Beep beep. I'm talking to myself at this point. I'm sorry, y'all. Thanks for showing up.
We're all enjoying it, so we're going over here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine myself. Okay, so I came from a panel over there about 30 minutes ago. We were getting into a huge discussion, and some of us wanted to come over here and ask you guys about your opinion. So this is going to make a lot of people mad.
Wait. Is there a spoiler
You're
for
really
me?
selling it really well.
No,
You're ready for this.
I am. Do you think RWBY is an anime or a cartoon?
Hey, it's been great, everybody. Thanks.
Why does it matter?
Yeah, I can't answer that. It's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, who cares? Whatever your opinion may be, that's fine. You can stick to it. Don't hate on each other for it. But at the same time, I think about like Studio Ghibli and how they say like we're not either really, we're our own thing, and that's kind of how I feel. We're a unique entity for sure. Like the look of the show clearly is inspired by anime. But it is funny you say that. I will talk about an anecdote with me and Barbara. Michael, me and Barbara went to Germany to promote RWBY and do a convention. And while we were there, they had a lot of Japanese guests. So they took us out to dinner one night, we're sitting with them, and the translator mentions like, hey, we're from this show RWBY. I don't know if you've heard of it. And they're like, oh yeah, we've heard of this. And then for the next 20 minutes, they're talking about whether or not it's an anime. And I was like, sweet.
Just sit right there in front of them.
Yeah.
That was an interesting convention for us because since it was in Germany and they had pretty much only Japanese special guests at the show because it was an anime convention, they had an interpreter for Japanese to German and an interpreter for German to Japanese. So 99% of the convention, me, Lindsay, and Michael were just sitting there being like, I don't understand anything that's going on. Help us. There's like one person there who spoke English and we're like, oh, where are you? Help us. Yeah, I agree. It's like whatever you think, whatever makes you happy. But I will say that we have been like number 2 or 3 on Crunchyroll, which is an anime service.
Hello. I love your cosplay.
So cute. Thank you. My name is Kelly. I just wanted to say your show's awesome and I love it.
Thank you.
I have a question, which is, what, in your opinion, was the most defining moment for your character throughout the series? Like, what made you realize, like, this is a big change in their life and this is really going to affect them? Like, this will affect how they do everything from here on out.
I think one of the biggest moments that's most recent for RWBY is when she tells off Uncle Crow. She's like, yo, I'm not gonna listen to you anymore, I'm my own person. I was really proud of her for that.
I think when Weiss, the scene with Weiss and her dad, when she no longer has her heiress title and he, slaps her across the face for whatever, and I was so mad about that just internally that I could only imagine, I really felt like Weiss in that situation, how she just slams the door, kicks all of her furniture over, and was like, I'm doing this, I was like, yes, things are changing now, she's gonna go on her own, so.
I think it was when Blake confronted her dad. I was like, why aren't you mad at me? Do you still love me? And I think that was a big turning point for her. It kind of allowed her to fully accept everything that had happened and that it was okay. And she could move on from there. So although it wasn't like a huge like blow up moment, I think it was really important emotionally for her.
For Yang, I'm gonna actually have to say when she lost her arm in Volume 3, I think that completely changed her and kind of redefined her as a person because she had to kind of grow from that and deal with suffering from PTSD and kind of being not a full human anymore, which is a very strange thing to have to deal with, especially when you rely so heavily on that's your weapon and that's the way you fight, that's how you identify yourself, and just growing from that and becoming a new person from that moment. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm sorry I keep yawning, y'all.
Hi there, my name is Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
And my brother is actually an inspiring voice actor. He does he's over in Texas, so he has video games and he's trying to do some anime work. I know he's had 2 auditions for RWBY so far.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's mainly as Huntsman's, but he's just my ultimate goal is to be a RWBY villain. How do I do that?
Well, his name, you said it's Huntsman, yeah?
Well, no,
So-
that's just the roles that he's been auditioning for. His name's
Gotcha.
Joffrey. I'm like, God of fear.
His
No,
His name's Joffrey?
Yeah. Game of Thrones.
I'm sure he's very nice.
Keep him away from every moment.
He wants to be a villain.
Yeah, it's more of his shtick rather than being a hero. And I was like, what RWBY girls are there? Maybe I can ask them, what's the step he can take to be the best RWBY villain if he gets to that point in voice acting?
Wow, I mean, I don't think we have any advice for specific roles or anything like that, but as far as voice acting goes, I mean, we're a unique case, obviously, because we knew Monty and he wanted us to play the roles and we're very honored. We feel like that was something that would not be offered to any other voice actor normally. So we understand how difficult it is to get into something like that. I would say if he's not already taking like theater classes, getting more involved with acting in general, expanding repertoire, and like really trying to play with your vocal range. Also, there's a 3-part series that Yuri Lowenthal did on YouTube, and he plays Mercury in RWBY, and Neil in Camp. And he's awesome. But yeah, it's a 3-part series he put on YouTube about how to get into voice acting, what you can do to find auditions, how you can like network with people, and all sorts of different stuff. So I'd check that out.
Yeah, another thing for him to keep in mind is sometimes when you're auditioning for a part, this goes for any job, any role, anything like that, it's not always necessarily about the person not being good enough, it's just they're not right for the part. So if something doesn't work out, it's not necessarily on him, it's just they're looking for a particular sound, a particular person, whatever it is. Miles, one of the writers of RWBY, actually has a saying that I love where you could be the sweetest, juiciest, most delicious peach, but sometimes people just don't like peaches. And that's the way it is. And so, I don't want him to ever get discouraged just if he doesn't fit a part, but that's just kind of advice for anybody hoping to get into voice acting.
A totally random anecdote that came up from one panel or another that follows on exactly that theme is when they were recasting the voice of Mickey Mouse, you know who read for it? Nolan North. Nolan North didn't get Mickey Mouse.
I can see why he didn't though.
Exactly. He's Nolan North. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah,
he just wasn't quite right for it.
Yeah, because I hear, I'm not Nathan Drake. I don't even hear Nolan. It's just you're Nathan Drake. And you go like, oh, for Nathan Drake, like what?
Hearing Nolan do Mickey Mouse is a really surreal experience.
Gosh. I'm doing Goofy now. Gosh.
Well, I guess we'll go to the next question.
Thank you so much. I need more sleep, y'all.
This one's for Barbara.
I'm Barbara.
What's your favorite pun that hasn't made it?
No. We should start something where every convention we go to, if I get asked about puns, you guys have to buy me a drink.
You're gonna die.
My favorite pun that has not made it into the show, all of them. Where should I start? Open my notebook. My favorite pun of all time is I need glasses to do math because it helps with the vision. Maybe one day they'll write that.
And I heard that.
That took too long for you.
I know. I kind of zoned out a little bit, and I was like, I think I've heard that one. Oh yeah, but that was really funny.
Thank you for taking us on that ride.
Thank you.
What does an alcoholic use to wipe their windows?
What?
What does an alcoholic use to wipe their windows?
I don't know.
Smirnoff.
Nice. I'll remember that. Thank you for this gift.
Hello. Hello. My name is Leo. I've been watching the show since sophomore year of high school, and I graduated in 2015 doing that.
Thanks for making us feel old.
If it makes you feel any better, I feel old every time I think about the year I graduated, so.
Well, what was your question, young man?
I'm a mechanical engineering major over at UCF. And it's pretty much been the inspiration, the one goal I've strived for pretty much since 3rd grade. When I saw the show and I've seen the weapons, especially, the giant red transforming sniper rifle scythe thing, I had a reaction to that weapon.
What? Excuse me?
I won't say what kind, but...
Did you say this is also a gun?
Now that's a katana.
My question is, if you were to have any weapon from within the show, and have it with you in real life, which one would it be?
I'm gonna go with Nora's hammer, because why not? The symbolism there is just delicious.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Blades.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say your usual cop-out answer.
No, I was just didn't want you to hit me with that. I didn't say yours, so. I would say, but no, I do really like, I really like RWBY's side in all honesty. I really love I love the fact that it's like, you can slice and dice and shoot and all that. It's like it's like a multi-ball so good. It's so exciting. Oh my
You both can
gosh.
hang out after the show.
I kind of no. Neptune. Neptunes. I'm real big on like this is the lamest thing. I like mermaids. But I feel like I grew up as like, I'm a unicorn. It's like, no, you're not, but.
So she would want Neptunes.
I want Neptunes because I want to be like King Trident.
Solid. I'll take it. So I like packing lightly, and I feel like a lot of weapons don't really condense into a packable form. So I'd probably have to say Yang's gauntlets.
What about velvets?
Those freaking
That's like a whole other bag I gotta carry.
That's usually
The combat
That's
answer.
usually my answer, and they all say that's like you're cheating if you say that.
I got weapons that are just bracelets? Sure, I love accessorizing.
Well, Coco's is pretty compact and like travel sized, yeah. Whenever
Well, I mean,
it's
John's just fold up. I mean,
it still weighs the same.
literally.
It still weighs the same. That's an unfortunate feature.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and so it's single-handedly my favorite character.
So,
Who was it? Sorry?
Yang is single-handedly my favorite character.
that's a
Love it.
I'll allow it. But I got my eye on you. That was
So
my
I
tongue.
got good news and bad news. Good news, like I mentioned earlier, they'll be back at the tables right after this. Bad news is we've only got time for one more.
Sorry, no.
It's from Yang.
It's you.
Hi, I'm back.
Hi, Yang.
Hi. I've been fan since volume 2, and I really loved all the characters, but Yang is my favorite character.
I would have never guessed.
So my war room request, could you all just say a line as your characters? What are your favorite lines or whatever, so we can just hear it?
One of my favorites that I liked, and it's dumb because it wasn't just an ad-lib that I threw out there, Mouse and Carrie were nice enough to keep it in the show, is when she was talking about Blake. She's like, oh, she does like tuna a lot. It's my favorite, too. We always make fun of each other and we'll do each other's lines, and that's the one we go to for Carol all the time.
Brothers of the white thing.
Why are you eating the sun?
But I also like when RWBY and Weiss are in the forest, and Weiss kind of like, I don't know why, it's one of those that you want to like kind of redo after we rewatched it when we were very, very early into RWBY. And Weiss does this kind of like weird sing-songy thing, and she's like, I'm not perfect, not yet, but I'm still leagues better than you. I'm better than you. I'm like, whoa, not just actor Weiss, but it was funny.
I really like when Blake says, we did this after she burns her house down. It was a group effort.
One of my favorites is like from volume 1 is when Yang is first meeting Blake and she goes, hello!
I love that one so much.
I like your bow. It goes great with your pajamas.
Oh, I got one. Aren't you that girl that exploded? Oh my god, that is classic Blake.
Good.
I still got it.
Nailed it.
We could probably recite volume 1 from scratch.
Oh my gosh.
She's still trying to sign me.
It's Eris, actually. Whoa, you know when you say things? Well, when I say things. It sounds like Blake. That's weird. But it's only with certain lines, though. Like, her cadence is like, I sound like her, but I don't talk like her.
Erin's a little bit more, I think, higher energy. She's definitely like, more personable.
Yeah.
I've got something to wrap us up. You, as a group, you've done a bunch of these conventions now. Fans come up to you, talk to you about how much they love the show, and everybody I'm on stage with has a story about somebody who's come up to them that the show that you're involved with has gotten them through something difficult, a very difficult time in their life. It has helped them persevere through times of trial and tribulation. What has it been like being on the receiving end of those stories? Was it really surreal the first time you got one of those? Is it something that you get something new to every one of these you do? What's it like?
Of course, it's always surreal. Yeah, we never ever thought that anything like this would happen in our lives, for sure. Like being an actor in general is something that I've always wanted to do, but it was like a pipe dream. So to be able to get to do this, now people want to actually come see us and like hang out with us, so we never ever expected that. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Like, you've changed our lives. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we never get over it. I mean, each person that comes up and tells us a story about how RWBY has helped them or how something in the show made it easier to cope with something or made them understand themselves better. It means the world to us every single time we hear it. We never get sick of hearing that stuff.
Yeah. I've learned the word bicon, and I think that's really great. There you go. I do.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Yeah, sure. How many times people will come to us and like thank us for doing the show? It's like, dude,
we don't write it.
all thanks goes to
crew.
Well, there's that, but all thanks goes to the viewers because you guys are the ones actually making the show possible. So.
I love working on a show that has so many different kinds of people and different like relationships and genders and demographics, and there's always something relatable in some character on the show, and I'm like so proud to be part of something that does that.
And it's wonderful because it's such a reflection on our audience, because there's so many types of people that we get to interact with and meet on a daily basis who watch RWBY or watch Rooster Teeth, and we're so lucky to get to meet so many different kinds of people and to be able to create a show that could help anybody in any sort of way.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Well, thank you so much for spending the weekend with us. They'll be back at their tables after this. Can we hear it one more time for
Yeah,
Lindsay?
say hi.